117 new fires broke out across this country yesterday alone in a single day. And that is on top of 72 large fires already burning uncontained. That is the reality of fire season 2026. Over 7.5 million acres burned so far this year, and we are not even through August yet. We're at National Preparedness Level 5, the absolute maximum, and the U.S. Army is on the fire line in Washington state. Crews from Australia and New Zealand flew across the Pacific to help, because that is how serious this has become. This is not a normal fire season. This is a historic once-in-a-generation crisis unfolding right now. A red flag warning is in effect for Northern California. A heat dome is baking the West, and there is a lot to cover today. So let's get right into it. Every single minute matters today. All right, let's start out in the southeast, where the heat is absolutely relentless and it is not going away. Across the southern plains and southeast, the NIFC predictive services are forecasting highs in the 90s to 105 Fahrenheit today. And here's the thing, wind gusts of 15 to 25 miles per hour are expected across Texas by mid-afternoon. When you pair gusty winds with relative humidity dropping into the mid-teens to mid-20s and 100-degree heat, that is a fire weather nightmare. Down along the Gulf Coast through Louisiana and Mississippi, heat and dry conditions are combining with extremely receptive fuels. Thunderstorms are going to fire up across Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi this afternoon, and the NIFC warns these can spark new fires. Erratic outflow winds from those storms combined with the dry fuels could produce new wildfire ignitions across the southeast today. That's exactly what fire managers are watching. Relative humidity in that region is dropping into the mid-teens to mid-20s by afternoon. And here's your remarkable weather fact of the day. The fuels across the southeast right now are so dry and receptive that the NIFC says thunderstorm outflow winds could produce new fire starts even without a direct ignition from lightning. The main trail fire near Savannah, Georgia is burning right now, proof of how dangerous these conditions are. Okay, let's move north through the plains and into the Midwest, and then out west, where the big story is. 3 large fires are burning right now in the Superior National Forest near Ely, Minnesota, Thumb Sioux, and Bear Trap. The Bear Trap fire has scorched over 30,800 acres and has already racked up $45.3 million in suppression costs. These fires are burning in closed timber litter and hardwood. That means they creep and smolder, and they are very hard to extinguish. And all 3 of those fires are being managed by a single incident management team under Area Preparedness Level 2. Now let's head out west, because this is where the big story is, and my goodness, where do we even begin? The NIFC Predictive Services report states, and I'm reading directly here, highs in the 90s to lower 100s across the western half of the country. And the lower 110s are possible over southeast California and western Arizona. That is dangerous territory for any fire weather. Colorado, 5 large fires are burning simultaneously, including the Gold Mountain Fire just 2 miles north of RA. Then there's the Aspen Acres Fire in Custer County, 102,004 acres burned and 915 structures destroyed. 915 structures. That is a staggering number and over $102 million in fire suppression costs. Let's jump up to the Great Basin. 3 large fires in Utah alone are burning across nearly 150,000 acres combined. The Widemouth 2 fire in Utah accounts for 129,741 of those acres, 93% contained, but cleanup is still ongoing. Nevada has 3 large fires burning across over 160,000 acres, and the Shoshone fire northeast of Fallon is the most active right now. Shoshone is running, flanking, and backing. That means it's moving in multiple directions simultaneously, which makes it extremely difficult to fight. The relative humidity values in the single digits to teens across the Great Basin are being reported by NIFC Predictive Services this afternoon. Now up into the Pacific Northwest, and folks, this is the absolute epicenter of the entire national fire crisis right now. 46 large fires are burning in the Northwest geographic area alone, covering over 2.5 million acres. That is Preparedness Level 5, the maximum, with relative humidity dropping into the single digits and teens across the interior. 30 miles northwest of Leavenworth, Washington, the Little Giant Fire has burned 137,593 acres. This fire is only 12% contained. 12%, and it has already destroyed 26 structures with more threatened. So critical is this situation that 240 soldiers from the 1st Battalion, 23rd Infantry Regiment, 7th Infantry Division are actively fighting this fire. That's per the official IMSR. The Army, based out of Joint Base Lewis-McChord, is deployed on American soil to fight a wildfire. Meanwhile, 6 miles east of Snoqualmie Pass, the Three Queens fire is burning with active group torching, and numerous residences are threatened with evacuations already in effect across the surrounding communities. Down in Oregon, the Grasshopper fire 14 miles southwest of Dufour has burned 92,408 acres as of the IMSR this morning. It's at 66% containment, but still displaying active fire behavior with flanking and group torching. It is not done yet. 35 structures have been lost to Grasshopper, and $73.3 million in suppression costs have been spent. 25 miles southeast of Estacada, the Austin and the Narrows fires are burning simultaneously in the Mount Hood National Forest. Both are at 0% containment, and officials have confirmed they are human-caused. Investigations are ongoing per the IMSR. 26 miles east of Pendleton, the Hagen fire has scorched 58,153 acres, with flanking and group torching in the narrative today. And in the high desert, the Big Grass fire 25 miles southwest of Jordan Valley is sitting at 579,007 acres burned. That is the Northwest's largest fire. And the Northwest area alone has burned over 2.5 million acres so far this year. Here's something that really puts this in perspective. We still have at minimum 6 more weeks before fall rains bring real relief. Now, New Mexico, the Frijoles Fire 3 miles east of Condillo is producing what the IMSR officially classifies as extreme fire behavior. Extreme fire behavior, that is the highest level in the classification system, and it means crowning, long-range spotting, and erratic movement. Crowning is when fire climbs from the ground up into the tree canopy and races from treetop to treetop completely uncontrolled. Long-range spotting means burning embers are being lofted miles ahead of the fire front, landing in unburned fuels and starting new ignitions. Frijoles is at 31% containment, 866 personnel assigned, with numerous residences evacuated and infrastructure directly threatened. And then way up north, Tok, Alaska, the Mookluk fire is burning just 2 miles from town with active evacuations underway right now. 25,248 firefighters, soldiers, and support personnel are on the line across this country right now. That is the official total from this morning's IMSR, 25,248 people doing incredibly dangerous work under extreme conditions. Okay, let's talk weather, because the NIFC Predictive Services forecast is what is driving all of this fire behavior today. The official IMSR Predictive Services discussion states high pressure will continue to amplify over the western U.S. today. That means drying and warming conditions across the interior, with relative humidity in the single digits and teens in the afternoon. And here is the critical detail. The IMSR says only poor overnight humidity recoveries are expected. Fuels will not recover moisture tonight. When fuels can't recover moisture overnight, they head into the next burning day already stressed. And that is a compounding problem. The desert Southwest is the one exception. Lingering monsoonal moisture will produce scattered afternoon thunderstorms in that region. But even those thunderstorms carry risk. The IMSR specifically notes potential outflow winds near those storms that could spread fire. Over most of the West, winds will be light and terrain-driven, but terrain-driven winds are still dangerous in complex mountain topography. Here's the interesting thing. Terrain-driven winds are actually harder to forecast than synoptic scale wind events. They can shift direction rapidly as a fire creates its own local weather, something crews on Little Giant know all too well. Here is a number from the IMSR that really puts this fire season into perspective. Year to date through August 20th, 49,608 wildfires have burned 7,510,237 acres across this country as of yesterday morning. That is 128% of the 10-year average for fires and 169% of the average acreage, according to NIFC statistics. Let me put the acreage number in context. The 10-year average through this date is 4,445,229 acres. We are already at 7.5 million. We have burned nearly 70% more than the average, and it is still August. Compared to last year, by the same date in 2025, the national total was 3,997,435 acres. This year, we are at 7.5 million. We have already burned nearly double what all of last year's season produced. Now, a heat dome is driving this across the West, and I want to explain exactly what that means. A heat dome forms when high pressure in the upper atmosphere acts like a lid, trapping hot air beneath it in the lower levels. Air sinks and compresses under that high, heating up as it descends. Temperatures climb far above seasonal norms day after day. And critically, as we just heard from NIFC Predictive Services, overnight recovery is poor, so fuels never get a chance to rehydrate. Let's talk about the Northwest in more detail, because that is where Preparedness Level 5 is being driven from right now. The Northwest geographic area alone has 341 crews, 741 engines, and 83 helicopters assigned as of this morning's IMSR. 12 complex incident management teams, CIMTs, are committed in the Northwest, the most of any geographic area. And 3 of those CIMTs are each managing multiple fires simultaneously. That tells you how stretched resources are right now. Here's where it gets interesting. 3 15-member incident management teams from Australia and New Zealand are also assigned. Those crews flew across the Pacific Ocean to help fight wildfires here. That is how significant this situation is internationally. 5 MFF C-130 air tankers from the Air Force Reserve and Air National Guard are deployed at Klamath Falls and Redding right now. MFF's Modular Airborne Firefighting System, that's the military's aerial tanker capability being brought directly into this fight. Now let's look at the Northern Rockies, because 2 fires in Montana are developing in a very concerning way. The Sand Creek Fire, 5 miles east of Wisdom, Montana, 31,667 acres and only 7% contained as of this morning. 7%. On a 31,000-acre fire in the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest. This fire has a long way to go before it's under control. The IMSR reports moderate fire behavior with smoldering, creeping, and group torching, and numerous structures threatened with evacuations in effect. The Dingley Zone remains under go evacuation status per the Bobcat Lakes and Sand Creek fire updates. Please take that seriously. And the IMSR also notes near critical fire weather is expected today with temperatures around 80 Fahrenheit and breezy conditions that fire will be active. Now here is the 7-day picture. The NIFC Predictive Services summary links to the national 7-day significant fire potential outlook. The official IMSR for August 20th does not show a cold front arriving for the Northwest in the immediate forecast discussion. What it does say, and I want to be very clear about this, is that high pressure continues to amplify and dominate. That means the current pattern of heat, low humidity, and fire-receptive conditions is expected to persist across the West. I always want to be transparent with you. Any detailed extended forecast beyond what NIFC Predictive Services confirms should be treated with caution. So for the 7-day outlook, the dominant story remains high pressure above normal temperatures and critically low humidity values across the West. The NIFC links directly to the NWS Storm Prediction Center's fire weather outlook for day-by-day details, and I'd encourage you to check those. Let me walk you through the Frijoles Fire situation one more time, because the extreme fire behavior classification matters enormously. In the official IMSR narrative, the Frijoles Fire is described with extreme fire behavior with crowning, group torching, and long-range spotting. That 3-part combination, crowning plus group torching plus long-range spotting, is the most dangerous combination in wildland fire. Crowning means no ground crew can safely engage the fire, indirect tactics only, establishing lines well ahead of the fire front. Group torching means entire stands of trees are igniting together, producing enormous heat output and fire whirls in some cases. And long-range spotting can bypass all of those carefully built fire lines, starting new ignitions miles ahead without warning. This is precisely why the IMSR lists numerous residences evacuated and 866 personnel assigned to a 13,120-acre fire in New Mexico. Let me close on the Alaska situation. The Mukluk fire near Tok represents a real and immediate threat to a populated community. Per the IMSR, active fire behavior with flanking, wind-driven runs, and single tree torching just 2 miles from town. Numerous residences and energy infrastructure are threatened, with evacuations, area, road, and trail closures all currently in effect. The AK Team 1 Complex Incident Management Team has assumed command as of this morning, with additional resources arriving from Canada. Cooler, more favorable conditions are expected in Alaska later this week per the IMSR, which is a positive development for Mukluk. Now, before I let you go, I want to talk about the resources that are being deployed nationally right now. Across all geographing crews, 1,323 engines, 172 helicopters, and 25,248 total personnel. Those are official IMSR numbers. The fact that we have reached those levels, including Army soldiers and international teams, reflects a genuine national emergency. And personnel actually decreased by 1,642 from yesterday, not because the fires are getting better, but resources are being rotated. I also want to be transparent about one thing. Some extended weather details and weather videos aren't always verifiable against official sources. In this video, all fire data, acreage, containment, structures, personnel, costs comes directly from the NIFC IMSR dated August 20, 2026. All weather information comes from the Predictive Services discussion in that same IMSR published by NIFC at 0730 MDT yesterday. For the most current fire weather information, the NWS Storm Prediction Center's fire weather outlook is updated daily. Check spc.noaa.gov. And for evacuation orders and current fire status, inciweb.wildfire.gov has real-time updates from personnel on each incident. This situation is developing rapidly. The IMSR is published every morning at 0730 MDT, and we will bring you the latest each day. If you live near any of these fires, follow official evacuation orders, register for your county emergency notification system, and have your go bag ready. Don't call 911 to ask whether to evacuate. Dispatchers are handling life and death calls and need that line clear. Check your county emergency management website for the most current evacuation levels. That is the only authoritative source for your area. We'll be back with a full update tomorrow morning, tracking any changes from the next IMSR and the latest NWS fire weather outlooks. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update this week. This fire season is far from over. 25,248 people are out there on the line right now doing extraordinary work. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. And to everyone on the fire line tonight, thank you for what you do.